the Governor of Kakamega County, His Excellency FCPAK, Wycliffe Oparanya. Welcome to the Situation Room, sir.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
It's good to have you on the show.
Yes.
Eric Latif here, Ndu Oko, and CT Muga. Governor, we were talking to Kivuta Kibwana earlier.
Yes.
And talking about his desire to become president. And we also knew that you were coming to join us. And that's why we're talking about this and saying we have candidates who have come out openly and said, you know what, I'd like to be president. But beyond that, we don't see them in political rallies saying, I want to be president, reminding us every time. We don't see them every time they're talking to us, reminding us, you know, I want to be president and this is what I want to do. One of them is you. Do you still want to be president,
Yes.
Governor Oparanya?
I still want to be president.
So what have you been doing since the first time that you announced that you'd like to be president? What have you been working on?
As you know very well, I'm still the governor of Kakamega County up to 9th of August next year. And I have to serve my people up to that particular day. And as a party, our nominations are in March next year. So until we reach that nomination stage, we are nominated, I can't do premature campaign. So I'm waiting because I'm still serving the people as a governor. I'm waiting the nomination day because I put in my nomination papers and you are aware of that.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting the nomination. As soon as I'm nominated, I will start now campaigning.
In the meantime, what are you doing? Are you reaching out to the delegates of the party?
You know, because of COVID, we could not reach out to the delegates. And we were supposed to have carried out elections for the party. It was not possible. So what we have been doing is to carry out some harmonization in all the branches and sub-branches. Until then is when you know who are your voters. Otherwise, if you just go now generally, you will be campaigning to people who will not vote for you. Because you need delegates to be able to be nominated. Until those lists are clear, and then you will be wasting your time. So that's what we are waiting for.
I see. One of the other people who wants that ticket that you're seeking in the party is Jimmy Wanjeke, who's come out to say, you know what, I want a clarity of who the delegates are. Are you in the same? Do you agree with him when he says we want clarity on the delegates?
And that's why I have said that at the moment there's no clarity because we were supposed to have carried out party election of the grassroots last year. It could not happen. So what now the National Election Board are doing at the moment is now carry out minimal grassroots election, selected areas they feel that we need an election. Areas they don't feel we need an election, they are harmonizing. They are putting together this list. So I will now know out of these 4,000 delegates, these are the names. And then now I can campaign. Yeah, otherwise, at the moment, you just waste your time. So Jim Wanjik is right to say that there's no clarity until those lists are compiled.
One of the things that one reads about and one hears about Your Excellency is a remarkable record of good governance, a good development record that you've maintained in Kakamega County.
Yes.
How have you done it?
You must have known my history, that before I was Minister for Planning.
Yes, you were.
Most of these plans that are being executed now went through that ministry. And you remember even Vision 2030, we commissioned it. The retired President, Mike Kibaki, commissioned it on 10th June 2008 when I was Minister for Planning. And they are clear plans. People, Kenyans, are poor in reading, very poor. You know, Kenyans like reading newspapers than reading books. And there are clear plans in that Vision 2030, in the Vision 2030 book, which if I was in this government, I would have revised it because, you know, development depends also on what is happening in the environment. So it's a continuous process. So you keep on updating as more issues come on the surface. Like now, mining was not given emphasis in that particular document, but now mining is a major sector that can save this country from many other the poverty that we have. So before you start executing, you must, one, have proper structures. So you must establish proper structures to create checks and balances. If you don't have proper structures, you put money somewhere, it is wasted. There must be a checks and balances effect. Secondly, spend more time planning. You can spend 2 years planning about a project. Execution can take half a year, but you have spent, identify proper personnel, identify proper resources to do that project. So have the right people. The other one is human resource. You must make sure you have the right people. Or you must have people, make sure that you train them well. And they must understand your vision as a leader. Where are you going? What are the expectations of the people? It is very important. Because not all of them will have same skills. There are weaker ones, there are strong ones, but you have to take them, all of them along. The weaker one, you strengthen them through training, through advice. The stronger one, you also encourage them. So that's what I have done in Kakamega County.
Governor, obviously you were able to do this because you saw what the problem areas were.
Yeah.
And then now able to work with other people and provide solutions. And that's clear that we've seen that. Obviously, in your quest then to become president of the country, there are certain things that I'm assuming that you see are wrong. What are some of those things? And then how do you intend, or what would you like to do to right those wrongs?
You see, when we got independence, we said that we are going to fight poverty in this country, people to be educated because the illiteracy was very high, and healthcare, people are healthy so that they are able to manage themselves. But unfortunately, we have not reached there. There is still a lot of poverty in our country. There is a lot of unemployment in this country. So obviously, there might be some things that we have not done right as a country. And that's why I feel that having had my experience in government as a minister, now having been a governor, closer to the people, when I get this chance as a president of the Republic of Kenya, there are issues that I will do differently.
There are very many issues things that you bring as experience, all those things, from being an MP, from being a minister, now being a governor for 2 terms, that you have clearly seen this works, this doesn't work. Very many of the complaints that we've heard on devolution works. I'm one of the biggest supporters of devolution. It works. But some of the complaints that we hear from devolution is the issue of resources. Either meager resources being taken to the counties and the delay in the release of these resources. From where you sit, as somebody who has also sat in the treasury, what is the problem?
Now, I know those problems are there, that there are not enough resources going to the counties, and even if they are available, they are not available on time. And that's why some of these issues, when I was chairman of the Council of Governors, I raised them, and they had been captured in the BBI. Because BBI had guaranteed counties to get at least 35%, which now is not going to happen. And also within BBI, we had put structures to ensure that money goes on time. Allocation to counties, release of funds was going to be the first charge to the exchequer every month. County get money first, the rest follow. that was going to happen, because it was going to be in the Constitution, amendment to the Constitution. So this will have forced whoever is in the Treasury to make sure that money flows. Yes. So it was unfortunate that BPI could not go through. And I'm hopeful that if Baba takes over, then that is going to be his first agenda.
Baba, not Oparanya.
If Papa, because you see, I have been moving with Papa around, and people tell him, why can't you go for presidency? Why can't you go for presidency? And I'm seated aside, which means people are maybe thinking that I have to wait. I have to wait. I have to wait.
What would you have to wait for? I mean, because if you've declared your intention,
I'm saying that if I get nomination in March, then I will have the luck. But you see, I don't know what the delegates are thinking about me, but out there, when I sit with Baba, they say, Baba, enda, Paranya ngojea. So
who are you listening to? Are you listening to what your conviction is saying, go for this position, or are you listening to what, as you've confessed to now, what the ground is saying?
You see,
hold on.
In politics, you must also listen to the people, because there are those people who are going to give you the vote. So we are listening, but we don't know. They have been urging Baba. Baba has not decided. So if he doesn't decide, then I have a bigger chance. Yes, I have a bigger chance.
But those things that you're saying about, resource mobilization, let's even say Baba or Oparanya becomes president. Is that the problem, or is there a systemic problem? I'm asking this fully understanding that you've told us you have experience running government as a minister. I'm looking at your other colleagues in the Council of Governors. Governor Kimemia has experience running government as head of civil service. We have Kivuda Kibwana has experience running government as advisor to the president and assistant minister. Charity Ngilu has been a minister. Anne Waiguru has been a minister. James Ongoi has been a PS. The person who's now in the treasury has been a governor. Is it really the fact that it's not in law that money should be 35% could go to the counties? I mean, this could have been done.
You see, the law is weak. The law itself is weak. In fact, we have a regulation, public finance regulation of 2015, which says that counties should get money at least by 15th of every month. This is just a regulation, which it does not happen. And enforcement of a regulation is difficult sometimes because it's not law. So, but we wanted these issues put in law. And obviously, when that time that the necessary laws on devolution were being enacted in Parliament, there were so many people at that time who were against devolution. And they weakened those laws intentionally because they didn't like devolution. Very few people want to cede power to others. So that is what BBI was going to rectify.
Essentially, what I hear you to be saying, Your Excellency, was that instead of looking at the BBI and the issue of the allocation to the counties as a big step forward in developing the country, there are people who actually saw it as ceding power. And so that particular moment, in a sense, was lost, and BBI sought to regain that particular process.
Yes.
But let me ask the question, is all lost really?
It's not all lost. We are hopeful that whoever becomes president will support devolution, first of all. Because if he or she does not support devolution, then we will have the same problem that we are having now. But I can't say that the current president has not supported devolution, because I happen to have worked very closely with him when I was chairman of the Council of Governors, and he has really supported devolution. But the legislation that is there is weak, I can tell you. It is weak.
Is it what was making the government, the national government, well, no, not the national government. Is it what was making the government not cede more resources to the counties? Is it because of legislation? Or is it just sitting and agreeing that, yes, as the head of the national government and head of state, I understand what the whole concept of devolution is all about. This is how much we are setting aside as our budget, and much more should go to the counties to support the functions of the counties. That does not require regulations or law.
I've told you that there are so many enemies of devolution, even in the current government. There are so many enemies. The president might have the goodwill, but those who are implementing take time. I can tell you one example where the president gave us 3 billion to mitigate against COVID-19. That 3 billion, he said, can this money be released immediately to the counties? You know, it took about 4 months to be released. When we were in the table, he was saying immediate, which meant maybe tomorrow.
Or this afternoon.
But
right.
it took four months, and now going round. And you know, the president knows that person who will keep on ringing and asking such, because he has made a decision. So I've told you that there are too many enemies. And because of these enemies, you must strengthen legislation. And the Kenyans, because they don't trust any other person, put it in the constitution. Because it becomes difficult to change the constitution.
Your Excellency.
Yeah.
There is a question that we must ask.
Yeah.
Should it happen that the delegates do not think that you are the right person to be their choice for president, what do you see as your life in politics after being a two-term governor?
One, I belong to a party.
Yes.
So if I belong to the party and they feel that I cannot be president, someone else is capable of being president, first of all, I will make sure that I support that person to be president. And if that person gets the presidency, obviously, at my level, I will get something to do in that government. Something senior, not just by the way.
Well, at least you're being honest.
Yeah.
You're being honest.
Yeah,
Because
it's
a
better.
lot of people would tell us, and they have said the same thing, that,
Yeah.
I'm just there for the support.
No.
But you actually see that, look, there's an opportunity for you to still be in government.
And
There's
maybe
an
run the
opportunity-
government more than the president even. Yeah.
Are you having some backroom negotiations with some of the other candidates? For some, you are a wily politician. You've done these things many times for many years.
Yeah.
I definitely cannot sit back here and say what Governor Oparanya is telling us is something that he's just sitting back and hoping will happen.
No.
You must be making some moves towards this.
Yes.
What moves are these are you making?
One, I'm a senior member of ODM. I'm number
You're
2.
the deputy party leader.
I'm the deputy party leader to Raila Odinga. Obviously, as ODM, we need others to win the president much more easily than when we are on our own. And all along, we have been negotiating with others. For example, Jubilee, the Uhuru Jubilee. The Uhuru Jubilee, we have agreed to come together because the other Ruto's Jubilee went to UDA. But the Uhuru Jubilee will be with us. Already negotiations are at an advanced stage. Parties like PNU, the one of Munya, is also negotiating with us. And there are also small parties, Now, quite a number of many parties are coming up. Even OCA, we are also discussing the individual parties, not OCA as an organization, but individuals within that particular coalition. Yeah.
In the Situation Room is CT Muga Ndu Oko. My name is Eric Latif, and our guest is His Excellency FCPAK Dr. Wycliffe Oparanya. governor of Kakamega County, deputy party leader of ODM, and very many other things. But let's stick with those two first. Man who wants to be the next president of the republic if he gets the ODM ticket in March. What would you do if you became president?
As I said earlier, when we got independent, there were areas that we were to focus on to change the lives of our people. And I mentioned poverty, which I still feel that many of our people are still very poor, maybe because of the policies that we came up with since independence. Many of our people have continued to be unemployed. My first focus will be dealing with poverty. And dealing with poverty, you cannot do it using one lane. You need quite a number of activities and policies to be undertaken. And I feel when President Uhuru Kenyatta came up with this issue of industrialization, I think that is one of the areas I feel as a government we should focus on. Industries in the rural area, where based on the raw material that they are. I remember in my own county, we used to have Mumia Sugar Company, a very big company, which used to employ 5,000 people. At the moment, it is closed because of mismanagement and other factors, poor policies at the national level, allowing importation of sugar and so on. These are some of the things that I will have to deal with. Industrialization, make sure that every county has a particular cluster of industries based on, of course, the availability of raw material in that particular, the comparative advantage.
Let's take the example of Kakamega.
Yeah.
What kind of industry would
Kakamega I will revive. First of all, I will straight away go to revive the sugar sector, because this is a sector that our people have been in it since in the 70s, from 1976 up to now. And because also Kakamega has the advantage of having rainfall throughout the year, I'll make sure that I develop dairy industry in that region. We have pushed also the coal refinery, which we soon is going to be constructed within, because we still feel we have coal deposits, a lot of it in Kakamega, which we abandoned just before independence. We have also a lot of maize that we grow. Some of it goes to waste. We must harness and make sure that this maize, there is value addition, so that farmers are able to get more. And also an industry that will support the health sector, being a populous county. I have built a very big hospital. I do not want situations where our people go out there to India for treatment. Make Kakamega to be a medical city. Yes.
Even as you look at that, what do you think stops some of those things from happening right now?
What stops those is that we have no proper policies. We need to develop proper policies. Even if you say that you are going to propagate such an agenda of Big Four, you must have a roadmap. How do we reach there? Because talking about it, you can talk about it. There must be a proper roadmap, proper policies, proper legislation, and proper resource mobilization towards that direction. I think that is what is lacking in our current system.
So, as we conclude, let's talk about what you said, the party ODM and the party ODM reaching out to others to see the like-minded other parties that you can work with. So you mentioned that Jubilee, let's call it Jubilee A, is on board. You have conversations with WIPA, with KANU, with ANC. What kind of structure do you see coming? Is it another like CORD and NASA?
Obviously, we have come up with the Azimio la Umoja. At the moment, we are in Azimio. And I hope that those coming will come to support Azimio. Because we are hopeful that if this country will come together as a country, there's a lot of tribalism in this country. And we have failed as a state because of the high level of tribalism. Look at Tanzania, who are our neighbors. Those presidents that have been there, they come from very small tribes. They have been presidents. Even the founding father, Nyerere, used to come from very small. But here, when you are from small, you are condemned. We don't want that situation. And that's why we were saying as Kenya, why can't we change to a parliamentary system? Because a parliamentary system then gives it a chance to anybody, even from Somali, from Northeastern, to be a president of this country, to be a prime minister of this country, head of state of this country. But the system we have, the winner takes it all. I'm telling you, those small tribes are condemned. That's the truth.
As we conclude then, what message would you give to those who maybe they'll be watching the Azimio event on Friday and they're sitting there wondering, so what's this thing all about?
You remember my party leader has many friends who have been supporting him all along. They have been going to him in person, as groups, and urging him that this is now your chance to be president. And because he has stood the last 4 times losing, sometimes in some unclear circumstances. So he said, since I've gone for handshake, maybe it's the government support I didn't have. So why can't I go for the government support and do a handshake? So these people have been urging him. He said, okay, let me try and go around the country and talk to the people and see how people will react. And wherever he went, he has seen people saying, go for it, go for it. These same people, he has now called them for the 10th meeting. Now, to declare publicly what you told me, I have now decided to go for it, or I have not decided to go for it. Now this time it's Oparanya Tosh. Maybe. That's what we don't know what to, yeah. So it is not an ODM meeting. People think it's an ODM meeting. If these people come together, even partyless, there are people who are partyless, but they are voters. They are all coming there, the disabled and the groups, they are coming together saying, now we have told you to go for it. Can you answer us?
Okay.
So that's what we are going for on Friday.
Governor Oparanya, thank you very much for joining us. Come again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Karibu tena.
Asante sana.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.